Let's take a look at a certain type of percentage question where you're asked to increase a given quantity by a certain percentage. The technique I'm going to show you is very useful for paper 2 when you've got a calculator to hand. Okay, so give you an example. I'm not going to explain why it works in this particular video. I'm just going to show you the mechanical process of actually doing it. I'll do a few examples and show you how it works. So, number 1, well let's first write increase. Number 1, let's say I take £200 and I increase £200 by 13%, say. Now, one way you could work out the answer to this is work out 13% of £200 and then afterwards add it on. And there's nothing wrong with doing that technique at all. However, I'm going to show you a little trick that I have shown you in the past that'll give you the answer straight away in one step if you're using a calculator. This is what you do. It's equal to, you take the £200 and I'm going to multiply it by something. Now if I multiply it by 1, it stays exactly the same. It doesn't change, so it doesn't increase by anything. So if you like, times it by 1, or 1.00 if you like, gives you a 0% increase because it doesn't increase. If you times it by 1, it doesn't increase. I want to increase by 13%. You simply multiply by 1.13. 1.13, and you can see the connection obviously between the 13% and the 0.13 of the decimal factor that you're multiplying by. Okay, so you just reach for a calculator and you work out 200 times 1.13, and if you work that out, the answer pops straight out on a calculator, £226. And that's the end of the question. Let's try another one. Number 2. Okay, you don't have to have money. You might have something like 540 kilograms and you're going to increase it by, okay, let's increase it by 91%. Okay, now in this particular example, we take the 540 and we multiply it by, well, a 91% increase. You times it by 1.91. You simply reach for a calculator. Now this is a bit harder, so I won't do it in my head in case I make a mistake. I'm going to say 540, I multiply it by 1.91 and you get an answer of 1031.4, and it's kilograms. So I don't need 2 decimal places if it's in kilograms. There you go. Okay, let's have a look at number 3. You need to be aware of something like this. You might have something like 720, I don't know, dollars, and you're going to increase it by, this time we're going to say 40%. Now, that one there would probably be quite easy to do just by doing it, work out 10% and then times it by 4 to get 40% and add it on. But if you've got a calculator to hand, all you've got to do is take the 720 and multiply it by 1.40. Okay, you can see the 40 gives you the 40% increase. Now technically speaking, that 0 on the end of the 1.4 doesn't actually have to be there. 1.4 is exactly the same as 1.40. But for the sake of remembering the technique, it might be a good idea to always put that second decimal place in, so you've got the 2 decimals there, so you can see the 40. Okay, so 720 times 1.40, so we get 720 times 1.40, and you get an answer of $1,008. And there you go. I'll do a couple more examples just to show you a couple of twists and turns that might confuse you if I don't mention them. So let's have a look at number 4. Okay, number 4. Here we go. We're going to increase 256 centimetres by 4% this time. Not 40%, 4%. This is where some of the mistakes sometimes occur if you're not quite sure what you're doing. All you've got to do is take the 256 centimetres and multiply it by 1 point. Now just be careful, it's not 1.4 because 1.4 actually means 1.40. If you want just a 4% increase, it's 1.04 that you need to write down. You always must have two decimals. 1.04 is 4%, 1.07 would be a 7% increase. 1.7 would be a 70% increase because it's 1.70. So 4%, 1.04. So you reach for your calculator and you have 256 times 1.04 and you get an answer of 266.24, and we're in centimetres. Okay. Number 5, one more. Sometimes you get VAT questions. You might have something that perhaps costs £260 before VAT is added. So the shopkeeper wants to sell something for £260, but of course VAT gets charged on top of that. Now frequently the VAT rate in exam questions is 17.5%. Okay, now at the moment the actual VAT set by the government is, I think, 20%. But in the future it could well go back down to 17.5% because it's been that figure in the past. And 17.5% is a very popular figure to be tested in exams because it's quite an awkward decimal, and you do need to know how to deal with 17.5% increases. So we take the £260, we're going to increase it by 17.5%, so it's 1 point. Now if you did 1.17, that's a 17% increase. So if you want 17.5%, you've just got to realise that 17.5% is the same as 17.5%. And there you can see 1, 7 and then a 5. 1, 7 and then a 5 in the decimal. So that there, 1.175, is the multiplication factor that you must multiply by to get a 17.5% increase or 17.5% increase. So we just reach for a calculator and we get 260 times 1.175, giving you an answer of £305, and it says 0.5. Well, money, you need to add the extra naught, 0.50, £50. And that's it. Okay, now the technique, okay, is very easy, very simple. I haven't explained why it works here. It's just a technique you need to practice, and if you do practice it, it can be a big help, especially if we come on to harder questions to do with things like compound interest, because it can save you a lot of time. Okay, that's the end of this video.